announcement. We got goats. We got these beautiful Nigerian dwarf goats who we just absolutely love. This is Penelope, this is Junie, and then behind the camera, we got Boomer, our boy goat, and then we have 3 more over here to the side. Here comes Boomer. Hi, Boomer. He's our nicest goat that we have. Super duper sweet. But today, we're gonna talk to you about the 5 things you need to know before you get a goat. So we want to talk to you about the 5 things you need to know before you get goats. Number 1 is you need to find out the reason why you want goats. So are you getting a pet, meat goats, milking goats? Those are all questions that you need to ask. So for us personally, we weren't really interested in eating them, but we wanted a friendly animal. Like, we didn't want them to be mean to us. So, but we wanted milk because I can't have dairy milk. So the only milk I can have is oat, almond, and then I can have goat milk. That's the only thing I can have. So Nigerian dwarfs are perfect for milking. They may be small in size, but you can milk up to a half gallon of milk a day. So that's rare, but you can get up to that. So we're thinking about just milking 2 of these girls and then selling their kids once they have their kids, and then make a little bit of profit off that. So if you're looking to make a little bit of profit, that's perfect as well. They have 1 to 4 kids at a time. Some have had up to 7. Although rare, it can happen. But that's why we got Nigerian dwarfs. Now, if you want meat goats, boar goats are the perfect goats. And if you want a dual purpose breed, Nubian goats. So you can get a Nubian goat for milk and for meat. We may actually end up getting a Nubian, not for meat, but we may actually get one from a friend down the street who's just kind of in over her head and wants to kind of get rid of some animals, so we're going to help her out with that.
So the second thing that you need to know before you get your goats is what kind of structure you want them to live in and the space that you have for them. So we, as in Jack and his friends, built this goat shelter. So we just used it from the design that we already had from our chicken tractors that we have built, that Jack has built. So we used the cattle panel to kind of make it that half circle shape. And then we put some pallets on the ground. And then on top of the pallets, we put
plywood boards. So we put 4x8 plywood boards, and we had to cut one just to kind of fit.
Because they do need some kind of flooring in their house area. They love it. They like the kind of like the decking style flooring rather than being on the grass, because it can get really muddy and it can get cold. So having this with the hay where they can stay warm is really helpful. On the top, we put a heavy duty tarp. So that covers the top and the sides and the back as well. But I'll show you the back because I added some plastic siding to the back, and our friend Tyler did this. He did a great job. It looks nice, and it also, like, nothing can get in, no water can get in. It's very protective for them as well. They don't necessarily have to have a door, and the reason is if you have any kind of protective fencing. So we use the Premier One fencing, which is this yellow fencing, and it is electric. So we don't have to have a door on our goat structure because we have the electric fencing. But if you don't have any kind of electric fencing, you definitely need to have a door on their house, because predators can get in. They will attack goats. So make sure that you do have something protected for them, whether it's a door or the electric fencing.
Third thing you need to know about your goats is the fencing and what type of fencing you need. So as Caroline mentioned, we have this yellow Premier One fencing. It's roughly about 100 and some feet long. I think it's like 135 feet long. And it's just a little over 3 feet tall. So you can see, it's honestly, if the goats wanted to jump over it, they would, they could. It's very easy for them to jump over. However, here's the cool thing that you need to know. With electric fencing, when they put their nose up to it, they instantly back away because they get shocked. And so we had one goat that tried to run through the first time, got shocked, and it traumatized her. And then she's not ran through it. That was Penelope, our girl right here in the back. Say hey, Caroline. But our girl right over there, that one, she ran into the fence the first time we got it, and we put it up the first night, ran through it, got shocked, and then has never ran through it again, and neither has anybody else. They'll all put their noses up to it, get shocked, and then back away. And they all stay about 2 feet away from the fence at all times. So really, for a fence, that's all you need for about, 6 goats. I would not put in this little area that we have for them. I would not put more than, I don't know, probably 10 goats. I think 10 goats would be good. If you're looking for fencing, that's probably your best option and probably your cheapest option. Doesn't cost much to set up. The charger doesn't cost much. So it'll probably be your cheapest option. Now, if you want to go the goat panel route, getting cattle panels or they actually do sell goat panels at Tractor Supply. You can get those 16-foot long goat panels, get 4 of them, and you could probably comfortably hold maybe 2 or 3 goats in there, easy. And if you're just looking for a small place, you could do that, and that'd be fine. But you would need enough space for them to be able to range. And then, can you free range your goats?
You can train them. So I wouldn't suggest free ranging them at first because they need to learn like where home is, where like basically where their food, water, and shelter is. So no reason to free range them or let them loose at first. We had them for like a month or so. We just kind of let them free range while we were still home. We were outside with them and just let them eat on some vines, eat the fresh cut grass, and just kind of explore. And they always would come back to their area. We would use like treats or food to get them to come back, and there was no problem. Then we started like going inside while they were outside and kind of checking on them to see if they were still in the area. So they never left like the yard. And if a car ever came by, they would run closer to their house to stay protected. So from what we've seen so far, they have not wandered off. But that might be specific to the breed that we have. So depending on what kind of goats that you're getting, this is specific to the Nigerian dwarf goat. That they, so far from what we've seen, they stay together and they stay close to home.
Yeah, and I would not free range your goats while you're not home. That's not a good idea because then they may cross the road. But I would be comfortable letting the goats out once they know where home is, letting them out while you're at the house. So please don't misinterpret that. Do not let your goats free range while you're gone. While you're home and you can watch them, definitely let them out of the pen and then entice them back in with treats. So yeah, that's the fencing and that's the amount of space that you need for your goats. So just make sure that you know that. All right, thing number 4 you need to know about goats is what kind of feed do they eat? What can I feed my goats? I hear they eat everything from tin cans to paper plates. Not exactly true. Although goats can eat just about anything for the most part, they really prefer hay, and specifically coastal hay. We get bags or bales of coastal hay, which is what they're eating out of that bag right now. We get bales of coastal hay just about every month. We get 2 bales, and it's lasted us about a month on those 2 bales, and we just fill that bag up whenever it gets out. Just fill it up, and we keep the hay in there. So we feed them that. And then another thing you need to know is goats really need minerals, specifically copper minerals, because they need copper in their diet. So you want to get a goat feed that has a little bit of copper in it for our goats. And you can get that from Tractor Supply. You can get that from your local feed store. But you want to get a goat feed that's very specific to goats. Do not feed that feed to cows, sheep, pigs. You don't want to do that. It'll hurt them. Pigs might get away with it and they might be able to be okay with it because they literally eat everything. But I would not feed that to your cows or sheep because it'll actually kill them. So don't feed goat feed to your cows or sheep. Now we also have goat minerals in there. And so they are very smart. They know when to get the minerals and when they're running low on minerals. So you can
the baking soda.
Yep. So you can just free feed your minerals to your goats and they'll know where it's at. The baking soda, same thing. goats can get something called bloat, which is where they eat too much and they start to get really big and they'll literally just fall over and just die. And so if they get some baking soda, they can actually calm those nerves in their stomach, and they'll be fine. And they know when to eat the baking soda as well. Now, having said that about the feed, you can free feed hay and you can let them graze on grass and they'll definitely do it. You cannot free feed the goat feed that you get from Tractor Supply. They will eat too much of it and they will die. So make sure we give our goats one big red Tractor Supply scoop of feed, and that's good for all of them, and we still have feed left in the feeder after we do it. So I'm still trying to figure out the balance there for them. So make sure that you don't give them too much feed, otherwise they could die. So goats can be finicky like that, so you want to make sure that you feed them just the right amount of feed.
The fifth thing to keep in mind when you're considering getting goats is that they're really useful if you want to have like a side business or a side income and make some extra money. So there's lots of like goat lawn care services where you can rent out your goats and you can make good money doing that. You can also do like a mobile petting zoo for kids' birthday parties or harvest festivals, school events, that sort of thing. And you would be surprised how much money you could make from that. So we would love to do that one day. We haven't started doing any of that yet, but it's definitely something that we want to do.
We've already had people ask, and we're just trying to get the goat playpen setups, or get like the little playpen set up so we can go ahead and get Boomer out, because Boomer's just
so friendly,
eager to meet people. Aren't you, buddy?
But there is like that investment cost too if you want to do anything like that. But it is great when you have an animal that can also provide more for you, and give back to you, give back to the farm and the farmers. So goats are awesome for that. So definitely something to keep in mind if you are an entrepreneur and enjoy that kind of stuff. A bonus one is that they're a lot of fun and they're really cute.
They're so much fun. If you think that goats are a terror, you have not had the right goat. Goats are not a terror. They can get into a little bit of everything, which, you know, that's just part of the joy of having goats, is they get into a little bit of everything, don't you? You get on top of the quail coop.
And then I think the next step that we have with our goats is they will have babies, and then we'll want to milk them and get goat's milk and learn how to make cheese and soap and all that kind of stuff. So that'll be a few months down the road, but that is something that we are interested in doing and we're very excited about. Once they get pregnant and have babies, then we can start milking them.
Absolutely, and we'll show you all those videos as well. We are just starting to ramp up the video process, making sure that we get enough content out here this fall for you guys. So bear with us as we're recording and getting used to all of it. We're a little bit behind, but we're gonna start ramping up with either bi-weekly videos very, very soon. So stay tuned. We're just getting started because we even have one more animal that we got to show you. If you want to see everything that we're doing before we even post it on YouTube, make sure to follow us, harvestlore_NC on Instagram, Facebook. Make sure you follow us there and you can follow along with the journey and kind of get the behind the scenes before we even post it on YouTube.
Well, that's all for today. Thanks for watching and we'll see you next time.
Awesome. See you guys.